from Sudan, who is currently residing in the US, and who is the founder of Tomorrow's Smile organization, and she will tell us about the possibilities of female activism with regard to overcoming stereotypes and religious extremism. Thank you, Hagir.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to be here today. My name is Hagir Elsheikh. I'm originally from Sudan. I'm an activist in domestic violence and women's rights. I was a spokesperson for the Democratic Party or Forefront during college. I was tortured, detained, and fought a very corrupt system that forced me to seek immigration and build a life somewhere else. I'm going to take a different perspective in women's role in our discussion today. It's going to be way different than what we talked about yesterday and what my colleague discussed today. But what I want to say is my story is not unique or different than many other women who strive to make their voices heard, to fight for equality and women's rights. The society and the government, which we will continue to discuss, they continue to use the religion or use religion as an excuse to leave women behind in all issues, including the issues that pertain to women. As we all know, you cannot solve an issue without addressing the subject, which in this case is the woman role or woman involvement in the peace process. But that seems to me is the way for many years, not just in our region, which is the Arab region that we discuss now, but I can say it's all over the world. And by us sitting here today to discuss it again, it only shows me that we are not at that point yet. I mean, we're getting there slowly, but the point of saying true equality exists and women's rights become as important as human rights and as the need for shelter and food. We must continue fighting and discussing all the issues that affect women today. Many people have spoken up yesterday, today, and they will continue to speak about all this issue. There is so many suggestions that we heard all over the years. I'm just going to add a few suggestions. Unless we can come up with the way to prevent the abuse of power, which it seems to be the issue, and to convince men all over the world that equality is not a matter of what they think is the best, but what is actually the best for humanity. Equality and involving women in not just in a discussion as an addition, but as a true part and as a true options to solve all the issues, not just the issues that affect us women personally. We can start by correcting all of the violent interpretation of God's words. To me, God represents peace, and when we leave His words up for translation by people, just normal people like you and me, and each one of them use their knowledge and personal opinion to influence their ideas, then what we will come up is a personal view. It's not a true representation or translation to God's words. And we will end up with some, like I said, someone's view on how we should treat women and how we should include women in all the issues that affect us today. So we need to differentiate between translating someone else's personal opinion and what God's word actually meant to say. We have more than one religion that exists, and everybody discussed that yesterday. I'm not going to repeat that today. There is no reason why we cannot all coexist peacefully. The problem arises when one gender or one religion think they are superior and their way is the only way. There is a saying that there is no point of view except from a viewpoint. And to just translate that in Arabic, من الموقع اللي انت بتكون واقف فيه رؤيتك للأشياء قد تختلف عن رؤية somebody else. Now, if we want women to actively participate in violence prevention, we need to start by stopping the abuse of women, the violence and the violent message that our media and unfortunately our religious leader and our reader either support or just don't take any action. So if you don't take an action, that's simply taking an action. The main point I want you to think about are, before we can expect women to be part of any change, we need to acknowledge their existence first. We need to eliminate the use of religion to oppress women and take away their rights, which isn't new practice. And it's time, this is the time for all the religious leaders to change the tone and correctly translate the holy books or update the message as some people discussed yesterday. The message that already exists and were viable and okay to be used at that time. Now, this is a time for us to update it, give it a second look, and try to come with a correct translation. In order for us women to be part of any change or participate in any decision, we need to have a true representation, not just an example. Having 90% of men sit in a conference or in a decision-making table and have a woman as a just representation for women. Participation is a must in all decisions that affect us as human and the issues that affect us as women personally. I'm always big in education. Educating and raising awareness of women's rights should be our top priority. Not just educating women, but also educating men to promote gender equality and support women empowerment. If we have an uneducated women or men or an uneducated society, we cannot have an educated mind. We cannot expect change. To achieve proper education, so in order for us to educate women and men, we must have an education system. And some of the women yesterday spoke about how our curriculums and how our education system is not up to date with all this issue. So for us to be able to correctly educate people to be active, we need to have a resources to the public institution and make education available for girls the same way as it's available for boys. And I'm going to give you an example that you all know, that we have almost 62 million girls are denied an education all over the world. Some issue that also impact our education is that every year an estimated 15 million girls under the age of 18 are married worldwide with little or no say in the matter. We're still suffering from female genital mutilation that affect 125 million girls or women alive today. And it is now recognized internationally as a human rights violation. So the religious leader have an important role, and they must start by sending a positive message that we can all coexist in peace, that no religion is more important than the other, and it's okay to have a different belief. Believing in another religion does not make you infidel. And we are not God to punish people and kill them simply because of their belief. They need to acknowledge that women are not defective, useless creatures that need guardianship from their male family member. They need to demolish the laws that treat women as legal minors and need guardianship from their male family member. In Sudan, there is still a law called Public Order Act, created by the government to oppress women by the name of Islam. In many countries.
Hagir,
yes.
1 minute, please.
Okay. In many countries, family decision-making is exclusive for men who enjoy by the default the legal status of the head of the household. Also, judges have complete power to deny women custody of their children. Sudan's security force have used sexual violence, intimidation, and other forms of abuse to silence female human rights defenders across the country. There are many laws in Sudan that target women, degrade them, and affect their human dignity. Through these laws, women are punished by whipping, imprisonment, rape, torture, and in many cases, death. Gender equality will not exist until women and men have the same rights and opportunity across all sectors, and when men and women have equal representation in many of the roles. So I know the time. This issue is a big subject and I cannot sum it in 7 minutes, but I will leave you with this note. Women around the world aged 15 to 45 are more at risk from rape, domestic violence than from cancer, car accident, war, and malaria. 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced either intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. So with all of the above, everything that I cover in this paper and what I didn't cover, women face all this issue. How can we be valuable member of society if we are not safe, educated, and treated equally? How can you ask me to come and sit and try to figure a way to get rid of violence? And how can you want us to participate truly if we cannot even be safe in our own home or in our own country? I'm sorry we don't have enough time. And I have more from where that come from. Thank you for listening and for allowing me to be here.
So thank you, Hagir, for embedding the discussion in a more general women's rights context and for opening our eyes to the obstacle that violence against women poses for women's rights. We now have about 15 minutes for a discussion, so if you have questions or comments for our panelists, please raise your hand and
كنت أعرف أتصرف فيه.
شو هيدا؟
هيدا إنه البطارية. وين في نرجع لورا؟